Hello and welcome back. So today we lost TikTok and then we got it back. So, I've been saving up TikToks to continue my little video series, and yet now I don't need to. But I have a lot of them saved, so I was like, guess we need to do another video. This is a little bit different in that I've saved these all from a while ago. And, you know, I don't really remember any of them, so it's almost like getting my raw reaction. The other ones, most of the time, I've watched it more recently. These, I really don't know. Some of these are a couple months old because they got lost in the abyss that is my photos on my phone. So yeah, let's go ahead and do this, and we will watch them together for what seems like the first time.
So, my friend told me that instead of 50% off hardcovers this year, they were doing a third off of hardcovers. But, even the way that this is, how it is on the sign is just, insane. Why did you have to change it from the 50% off? And you had to go through all this effort for it to be written this way? I just feel like it's written so weird. Do better.
Okay, I'm not 100% sure why I saved that because it doesn't seem like anything notable. But I will say that I did also go to Barnes& and Noble like right after Christmas when they usually do their 50% off sale. And I also was like a third off. What a weird way to phrase that. Even like 33% off would have been, made more sense to me. But I don't like the sort of, it's a corporation, so I'm inclined to not give them the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time I'm just like, it's cool that Barnes and Noble does that sale once a year or maybe a couple times a year, but like they don't owe it to us. But again, I don't want to be defending a corporation, so kind of mixed feelings on that one. Again, like I don't really know what my goal was with saving that, but there you go.
As we move into 2025 and we continue to have conversations about reading diversely, I think it's really important for people to remember it's not your job to make these weirdos care about your humanity, right? It's not your job to constantly remind people to care about your stories, to care about authors of color. It's not your job. For me personally, when I'm like, oh, this book by a black author was good, the people who want to pick up the book by the black author are going to pick up the book by the black author, right? The people who are weirdos and actually refuse to read books by people who do not share their same identities to a T, they're not going to touch that book. It doesn't matter how many times you shove it down their throat, they're not picking it up. Because the reason they're not picking it up is because the author, it does not look like them, right? And yes, I'm going to remind people who are otherwise already open to the idea of expanding their horizons that they can be a little bit more conscious when they go to the library, when they go to the bookstore. I know I could be. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I go to the bookstore and I look at my stack and I'm like, everybody white. Everybody's white. And I'm still gonna buy those books, right? Because they were on my list and I wanted to read them. It's not about the idea of you need to be perfect every time you go to the bookstore. It's about being conscious about it. And when you're conscious about it, you'll be more intentional. When I'm telling you, oh, read diversely, be a little bit more conscious, I'm not talking to the weirdos. I'm not talking to the weirdos. I'm talking to you, normal person who cares about people. I don't know if that makes sense.
So I did have another video where I had a TikTok by this same creator, and I feel like I really like her. She makes really good points and she's kind of funny while she does it. So for this one, I am totally in agreement. If someone doesn't want to buy a book or read a book by an author that doesn't look like them or they can't relate to, you telling them to do so is not gonna make a difference. But I also think that for me, I have to try. I just do. My last video was books by black authors that I think are really important books and books that should be read. And it was my worst performing video in months. So that to me just says we need to be doing more of it. I need to be trying to help people, I guess, find books by different authors and people from different backgrounds so they'll find something they like to read, because it just, I agree. They're not going to pick it up if they don't want to, but it is important to be intentional about it, and I won't stop trying to get people to read more diversely. And I hope that didn't come off like I was trying to like somehow pat myself on the back.
You have got to stop not reading books that you think will be too difficult for you to understand or too big brained for you to understand. The amount of times that I have picked up a book and I've been like, oh, here we go. I think this is going to be tough. Okay. And then I open it up. Open. Damn it. Thank you. I open it up. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I be freaking out for no reason. And then I read it and it's like such a good book and I was freaked out for nothing. Like, just open the first page and read the first line, damn it.
All right, so same girl. Like I said, I really do like her. Yeah, I agree. I feel like this happens to me all the time with classics. And sometimes I have to remind myself that like a lot of classics that I'm like afraid of reading are like books that people read in high school. And I like to think that at 36 years old, I am smarter than like 15, 16-year-olds that read this in their literature classes in high school. So I definitely know what she's talking about, though. There's also books that are just like very like highbrow literary fiction. Definitely get a little bit nervous sometimes reading them. Actually, I have one right now. Hold on. I'm not at home, if you couldn't tell. So this is the book Orbital by Samantha Harvey. It won the Booker Prize, and because I was such a crazy fangirl of James by Percival Everett, that was a finalist, I was like, well, I need to see what beat it, obviously. And it's like this cute, tiny little paperback. But I'm nervous. Even though, like, I'm sure that I'm either gonna like it or not, and that's fine. But, like, I shouldn't be scared of it because probably it will be fine. I don't know. That's just kind of a silly reason to not read a book that you want to read, but I'm certainly guilty of doing the same things that she was saying.
Hey, Barnes & Noble, you seem to not understand how this works, so let me help you out. A special edition or limited edition or whatever you want to call it can only be two things. It can be a thank you to the audience who made the books famous. This tends to involve artwork that brings the story to life. Or it can be a physical representation of people's love for the story, which tends to also look good on a shelf and appreciates in value. You can also look at Subterranean Press or Wraithmarked books. They both kill this. This is neither and is an abomination. This is for nobody, and it is clearly a cash grab. It's also the same shit you did with One Dark Window. So even though you should know this, I'll tell you again. Opening the 2003 Windows Paint application and using the paint bucket tool to change colors is not a limited edition. How many times do we have to prove to you that we will pay $50 for a good special edition? And I know what you're doing here. You're going for volume. You don't need to. The special edition market is at an all-time high. If you just hire some fucking people to do it correctly, you will make more money. You are making these for the mass market. The mass market already owns these. Make a version for the people that love the story and can prominently display it on their shelves, which if you're not aware is also a marketing tactic in the day and age where everybody films everything. Do you have any idea how often I get asked about the special editions behind me? Do you have any idea how many people are going to ask me about these in the comments of this very video? Make something worth having and people will invest in it.
This is so true. Looking at this video and these special editions of ACOTAR, they're just black. And like they're very sleek and they look nice, but a person that already owns these books is not going to shell out however much they are charging for the and it appeared to be paperback copies of books they already own that aren't exciting to look at. Like again, it looks sleek and very like monochromatic. It's all nice, but no. And especially considering that people on like Etsy and other websites sell their like dust jackets of their own artwork and they are gorgeous. I've seen, I mean, the type of books that I read don't tend to get these special editions, but I have like friends and the internet. So, they often are just fans making this gorgeous artwork that you can put on your book instead, take the old dust jacket off that it came with and put this on instead, and it's stunning. And that's far cheaper than buying an entirely new set of books you already own that look okay. I mean, a lot of people, were unhappy with this type of cover anyways, as opposed to like the older ones with the faces and stuff. But I just think that it does feel like a cash grab, especially because as far as I know, the series isn't done yet. And so you're just gonna have to like buy another copy that makes it, I don't know. It just feels funny to me, and I don't think this is gonna sell well. I mean, maybe it will because there's definitely people out there that just are part of a fandom and need to own every last thing in that fandom. And more power to them. You're welcome to spend your money however you want, but I feel like there's just way better ways to make your books look special on your shelf, and like special editions. Like, you don't need to buy an entirely new book, you can just buy a new cover. And I think it's awesome to support like fan created merch and all that.
I have a Glock, and I've had it for quite some time.
I talked briefly about this and pretty much had the same reaction as she did in a different TikTok video I made. But yeah, it's just an MP3 player. It's like, it reminds me of my iPod Touch in like 2010. Um, yeah, I just don't understand. Just use your phone or use your Kindle. They're not really that big. It can fit in your purse, but I feel like I'm done trying to tell people what to do with their money at this point, or point out where they're being a little overconsumptive. I don't know, because people take a lot of offense to it. And you're totally, welcome to spend your money however you want. I'm not going to stop anybody, but I feel like the amount of consumption is something we should be cognizant of. I'll leave it at that.
And what the fuck do I care about an unreliable narrator when I'm an unreliable reader? I done forgot half the shit that happened in the first half of the book. I'm now in the middle. I'm sticking beside my girl. Oh, and things didn't really happen this way. If she said that it did, because I believe her.
So that, it's just a funny one, but like, truly, I feel like I only read on my Kindle. Not only, but I mostly read on my Kindle when I'm at work. And when I'm at home, I don't read a lot on my Kindle. So sometimes if I have a bunch of days off in between trips, I won't have, looked at my Kindle in a week. And this just happened to me today, where I started reading a book that I had only gotten maybe like 12 or 13% into. So it wasn't like I had a lot of like established thoughts on it already. And I went back to read it today and I was like, what the hell happened? Like, and the main character, I've read a little more now, and she's kind of driving me nuts, and I'm kind of understanding with this whole like unreliable narrator, and I'm like, is this a terrible, like, irresponsible choice that she's making, or do I just not remember her like origin story?
It's me, Jessica. I'm in here.
I hate it. I hate that so much. And you know what I hate even more than male narrators doing female voices? I hate female narrators doing male voices, because they're always like so like throaty, and oof, I just hate it. I'm trying to think of like a line I could say to explain what I hate about it, but I probably can't. It's just so cringe. I'm like, just talk like a person. You don't have to do a whole thing. It reminds me of like being a child and like your parents making like voices for the different characters in the story they're reading to you, which is exactly what an audiobook is doing, but it's different when you're not a child.
Okay. Are you kidding? That's unfair. She made those. I need to calm down. Everything's fine.
Amanda.
I'm an adult.
One more reason to leave Goodreads. I mean, so while I have left Goodreads for tracking purposes, sometimes I want to read or look up reviews, and they, are a lot of them over there. And, you can pretty much find something on every single book you are looking for. And so I do still have the app downloaded. I have looked at it on occasion, but I went in and it was, of course, asking me, like, what do you want your goal to be or whatever. And I'm seeing all this stuff that's becoming, like, just different. I mean, and, like, the thing doesn't tell you how many books, like, if you're on track for your goal or whatever. And, like, I don't know. To me, that's just, like, one more reason why I don't need it. Like, again, it's good for what it's good for, and the stuff that it's bad at, there's far better options out there than Goodreads. Okay, so as I've never read this book, I don't fully understand this, but I looked it up, and It's apparently like a very, very, very spicy scene that's also like cringe. And so I think this is funny that like even the romance girlies have a limit of the spicy cringe until they're just like, absolutely not. She threw this book down and walked away from it. Which can't say I've never left a book in a public place when I was like, I hate it. I don't want this anymore. I don't want it in my possession. Someone else will find it and love it, probably, maybe. But, anyways, yeah. There are like screenshots of it and stuff on the internet. Putting that stuff out in the world, as far as like copyright and all that. But if you happen to stumble across it like I did, yikes.
I don't know about you, but this is how I'm reading books at the moment. If I can't read paperback because it's too thick, like look at that thickness, I try the hardback. If the hardback is weighing too much on my body, then I read the Kindle version. If I can't be bothered to hold the Kindle anymore because I'm a lazy little fuck, then I go to the audiobook. And we just keep going around until I finish the book.
This is so relatable because I am, first of all, so annoying about how I like to read because I want a paperback to hold unless it is really stiff, and then I don't want it. But I want a hardcover to put on my shelf. But also, if I'm having any sort of trouble like getting through it, I'm like, hit me with the audiobook. So I've got the audiobook going on, but then I am at work and I want to switch to the ebook. And so then I need that too. And it's just like a whole thing. I can't tell you how many books I own an ebook, an audiobook, and a physical book of. It's absurd. And I, like to get on here and preach about overconsumption, and here I am, the poster child for overconsumption.
It's like a reward.
It really is like a reward. The half-written page can do no wrong. Truly the best feeling.
I don't care if people call me delusional for saying this, but I honestly don't think that BookTok is oversaturated, despite the fact that everyone and their gran has a BookTok. If I'm like scrolling through my For You page and I see a girl like sitting down her first book haul and she has like 10 followers, you best believe I will be the 11th. Like, that's just what I want to see. Like, I really do not feel like people need to do things that are crazy to like build a community on BookTok. Like, genuinely, if I see your video and you're just sat there like with your phone propped up on your desk and you have like semi-decent lighting, semi-decent quality, like, I'm watching it, I'm engaged, I care. I'm actually more drawn to those types of videos and those book recommendations than I am from like bigger creators where it feels like a production. I really don't think BookTok is oversaturated. I really think there genuinely is space for everyone, and I love seeing new faces on BookTok. But yeah, I just don't want anyone to hear that like, oh, BookTok is oversaturated and be discouraged and feel like, oh well, there's no point then. There 100% is. BookTok was oversaturated 2 years ago and I only joined a year ago and I'm doing okay. I just wanted to give that wee shout out to people who have just joined, are like finding the courage to do talking videos. I'm watching them, I care, I'm liking them, I'm following.
I love her energy and I love what she's trying to convey with this video. And I love that she's, giving a chance to smaller creators. I just think it's hard to get your videos seen. Like, I don't know exactly how algorithms work exactly, like not even a little bit actually, but I think that's like honestly one of the hardest things that there is to becoming like a creator on social media. When I first started YouTube, I don't want to act like I had like really great content, because looking back, it's like low-key embarrassing. But some of my videos, my quality of like production value was very low. But I think that some of the content, the recommendations, the tips for, reading and apps to use and stuff, I still think that was valuable stuff, but nobody watched it because, I mean, if you see a video that they're on the same subject and one of them has 100 views and one of them has 100,000 views, which one are you going to click on? Maybe both, but you're probably going to click on the one that has 100,000 views first. And so, it just can be a little hard to get going, and it's a grind. I think, as I've said before, BookTok is a little bit easier to find your people, and it's the algorithm working its magic, and it's just very, very, like, honed in. But I love that she's watching those. I just think it's, like, not as simple as, like, make your content. People will watch it. But again, I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
I'm gonna say it with my chest. Sprayed edges and special editions are going to be going out of style a lot sooner than we think, and honestly, this ACOTAR special edition is going to be what pushes it forward. Now, this isn't me saying I don't love sprayed edges, because I do. I literally have a whole shelf behind me right here of them. This is just me saying the fact that this once small little niche part of the book community is now become so mass marketed that the appeal is slowly being lost, and people are just trying to get a cash grab for them. When you're thinking special edition and sprayed edges, you are thinking some point of the book is being produced in this beautiful form of art for you to be able to see. You are thinking of something that has a meaning to the book. You might not be initially able to understand what those edges might mean, but after you've read the book, you'd be able to infer their meaning, and that's what makes them special, and that's what truly is what we are asking for. That's what brings value to these books. One of the most common questions I even get asked about is about my Red Rising books behind me. These edges represent the book because of the fact that you have the rim and the core, which are big, massive parts of this series. And even taking off the dust jackets, you have art that represents the book. This is a special edition. This is what we're looking for. I understand the need to make money, but I don't think publishers realize I'm more likely to spend more money on a piece of art that is done well on a book than I am for black sprayed edges. I want something that looks nice on my shelf, but I also want something that's going to represent the book that I am reading and the book that I am talking about. Unless publishing companies learn to listen to the readers about what we're asking for, the special edition market and the sprayed edges are going to fizzle out a lot sooner than they were expecting. And I'm kind of hoping that they do, just so in turn, if they go back, take a look, and see what they did wrong, they can fix it and come back stronger and give us all what we are asking for.
I mean, so that's pretty similar to what that other guy was saying on his. It's just, it's not special anymore. It's not cool when the special part of the special edition is not special when it doesn't have anything to do with the book itself, really. Like, I completely agree. Like, I mean, take my opinion with a grain of salt because I'm not really a part of the sprayed edges community, but I mean, I think it's so cool when they're done by like individuals and it's like super customized to that particular book and it relates and stuff. I think it's crazy that like you can walk into Barnes and Noble now and there's an entire table full of books with special covers and sprayed edges and like they're just like random books. I don't know. I, as a non-fantasy reader, have never felt like left out of the sprayed edges market. I think it's really cool, but I just understand that there's a lot of imagery and stuff in fantasy. Like, that's just how it is. There's whole worlds that are being built. And so there's obviously going to be a lot to pull from as far as creating art with that. And that's fine with me. And I can empathize in the sense that, like, this is not what they want. They want art. And just the way that it's just become so manufactured almost is just, I don't like it. And yeah, I think she's right. I think we'll stop seeing so many people buying copies because it just feels so like done for a cash grab, basically. Okay, so I, have some more saved, but now that TikTok is back, I'm just gonna save them for a future video because I now will have more to come, and this video is long enough as it is. So let me know what you think about any of those. I know we didn't have any big hot takes in this edition of my book talk talking, but still let me know what you think about any of these, particularly, yeah, about this special edition stuff. Would love to hear the opinion of someone who is, the target audience for this is a fantasy reader that would be purchasing these special editions, these sprayed edges. I want to know your thoughts and opinions. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!